She was just a humble nanny. She worked day and night to support her family. One day, while feeding a disabled child, she had no idea that this boy was actually the secret son of a millionaire. And when the truth came out, her whole life changed forever. Emily Cross stared at the letter in her hands, the St. Helena Medical Center logo mocking her from the top of the page. Terminated just like that. 5 years of dedication evaporated. She crumpled the paper and tossed it across her small kitchen, watching it bounce off the faded yellow wall. Bad news, Lillian called from her recliner. Emily's grandmother had a sixth sense about these things. Despite her failing health, they're letting me go. Emily's voice cracked. The Carter Foundation pulled their grant funding for my pediatric alternative therapy program, effective immediately. Those Carters. Lillian's voice hardened, her frail fingers clutching her blanket. Always taking what isn't theirs. Emily knew what was coming. The same story she'd heard 1,000 times, about her brilliant father, Mark Mitchell, the neurological breakthrough he'd developed, and his mysterious death before he could patent it. How the Carter Pharmaceuticals swooped in months later with an identical formula that made them billions. A story that seemed more like her grandmother's conspiracy theory with each passing year. Not now, Gran. Please. Emily filled a glass of water and brought it with Lillian's afternoon pills. We need to focus on keeping this roof over our heads. The stack of bills on the counter told their own story. Mortgage payments, medical expenses, and now unemployment. Emily's specialized skills in alternative therapies for children with disabilities didn't exactly make her a hot commodity in Chicago's competitive healthcare market, especially not with the whispers of inappropriate methods the Carter-funded review board had spread about her. There's always Helen's agency, Lillian suggested after swallowing her pills. She's been asking you to join for years. A nanny agency, Gran. I'm a certified pediatric nurse with specialized training, not a babysitter. Pride won't pay these bills, honey. She was right, of course, 3 weeks and 17 rejection letters later. Emily found herself in the sterile office of Elite Child Care Services, facing Helen Parker across her immaculate desk. Your qualifications are exceptional, Emily, Helen said, scanning her resume. I have a family specifically requesting someone with medical background, high-profile client. Extremely private, she slid a contract across the desk. The salary is substantial. Emily's eyes widened at the figure. This can't be right. It is. They're desperate. The child has special needs and they've gone through 5 caregivers this year. Helen's perfectly manicured finger tapped a non-disclosure clause. They insist on anonymity until after you're hired. It's unusual, I know, but Emily thought of the foreclosure notice tucked in her purse, of Lillian's increasing medical bills. When do I start? The winding driveway seemed endless, cutting through manicured grounds that belonged more in a period drama than suburban Chicago. Emily clutched her small suitcase as the driver, who hadn't spoken a word since picking her up, finally pulled up to an imposing stone mansion. Someone will meet you at the entrance, he said, his first and only sentence before driving away after depositing her luggage on the gravel. The massive wooden door swung open before she could knock, revealing a thin woman with steel gray hair pulled into a tight bun. Miss Cross, I'm Mrs. Reynolds, the housekeeper. Come in before you catch your death. The foyer's soaring ceilings and marble floors made Emily feel smaller than ever in her second-hand coat. Family portraits lined the walls. Generations of stern faces looking down with apparent disapproval. Your room is upstairs, adjacent to Master David's suite. You'll meet him after you've settled in. Mrs. Reynolds led her through hallways that seemed designed to confuse. The family is rarely here, Mr. Carter travels extensively for business, and Madam Carter has her own residence in the city, Doctor. Whitaker comes on Tuesdays and Fridays to adjust the boy's medications. What exactly is David's condition? Emily asked, trying to get any information about her charge. Cerebral palsy, among other issues. Mrs. Reynolds' voice dropped. He doesn't speak much, doesn't do much at all, really. Your job is primarily to ensure he takes his medications, follows his prescribed routine, and stays comfortable. Emily frowned. That sounds more like a caretaker than what I was hired for. I specialize in developmental therapies for... The family has their own medical team. Mrs. Reynolds cut her off. They're very specific about David's care regimen. After unpacking in her surprisingly comfortable quarters, Emily followed Mrs. Reynolds to a room at the end of the hall. The woman knocked softly before entering. David, your new nanny is here. The room was spacious but sterile, more hospital than child's bedroom. Despite the expensive toys lining shelves along one wall, a small boy sat in a motorized wheelchair by the window, his back to them. He didn't turn when they entered. "I'll leave you to get acquainted," Mrs. Reynolds said, closing the door behind her. Emily approached slowly, circling to face the child. "Hi, David. I'm Emily." David Carter couldn't have been more than 7, with dark curls and pale skin. His eyes, startlingly blue, focused somewhere beyond her. His right hand made small, repetitive movements against the wheelchair's armrest. "It's nice to meet you," she continued, kneeling to his eye level. "I'll be staying here to help you. Would you like to show me around your room?" No response. Emily noticed the array of prescription bottles on his nightstand. Too many for a child his age. She picked one up, reading the label. Her eyes widened in recognition. "That's a pretty serious medication for someone your age," she murmured. A sound from the hallway made her quickly replace the bottle. The door opened, and a distinguished older man in a lab coat entered. The new nanny. I'm Dr. Calvin Whitaker, the Carter family physician." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Just doing my afternoon check on our boy." Emily straightened, extending her hand. "Emily Cross. I'm actually a pediatric nurse specializing in alternative therapies for—" "Yes, well, we have David's care well established," he cut her off, checking the boy's pulse. "His condition requires a very specific regimen that's been developed over years. I trust you'll follow it to the letter." As Dr. Whitaker adjusted an IV drip connected to David's arm, Emily caught the boy's eyes. For just a moment, she saw something there. Awareness, intelligence, perhaps even a plea, before his gaze drifted away again. Later that evening, after David had been put to bed, Emily called Lillian from her room. "It's strange here, Gran. The boy is practically catatonic, but something doesn't add up. You should see the medications they have him on. Where exactly are you?" "Emily, you never said which family hired you." Emily hesitated. "I'm not supposed to say, but—" She lowered her voice. "It's the Carter estate. Can you believe it?" There was a crash on the other end of the line. Gran, are you okay?" "Get out of there!" Lillian's voice came back, suddenly urgent. "Emily, listen to me. You need to leave that house right now." "What? Why?" "Because—" Lillian's voice cut off abruptly. Emily checked her phone. The signal had disappeared. She tried calling back but couldn't get through. Looking out her window at the vast, dark grounds surrounding the mansion, she felt a chill run down her spine that had nothing to do with the autumn air. Somewhere down the hall, she heard a soft thump, followed by what sounded like a child's whimper. "David!" Emily rushed down the hallway toward the sound, her nurse's instincts kicking in. She found David's door ajar, a weak light spilling into the corridor. Inside, the boy was half hanging from his bed, his wheelchair just out of reach. "Hey, I've got you," she whispered, carefully lifting him back onto the mattress. "What were you trying to do, buddy?" David's eyes fixed on the window, where moonlight filtered through heavy curtains. Emily followed his gaze but saw nothing unusual. When she turned back, she noticed something clutched in his small hand, a crumpled photograph. "May I?" she asked, gently uncurling his fingers. The photo showed a younger David sitting on a woman's lap. Unlike the vacant expression he wore now, his face beamed with joy. The woman, presumably his mother, had her head turned slightly away from the camera. "Is this your mom?" Emily asked. David's eyes flicked to hers, then back to the window. It wasn't much, but it was response, more than Mrs. Reynolds had led her to expect. Emily tucked him back in, placing the photo under his pillow. "Our secret, okay?" After making sure he was asleep, she returned to her room and tried calling Lillian again. The call connected this time. "Thank God," Lillian answered on the first ring. "Emily, listen. What happened? You scared me half to death. You need to leave that house." Lillian's voice trembled. "The Carters, they're dangerous. Gran, I can't just walk out. This job is paying our mortgage." Emily sat on the edge of her bed. "Besides, there's something off about this place. The boy, I think he needs help." "That's exactly what your father would say." Lillian sighed heavily. "Promise me you'll be careful. Don't tell anyone your real purpose for being there." "Real purpose, Gran? What are you talking about?" A long pause. Just check the medicine cabinet in your bathroom, back behind the pipes. Emily frowned. How would you know about... Promise me, Emily. I promise. I'll call you tomorrow. Hanging up, Emily immediately went to her bathroom and removed the small access panel behind the sink. Wedged behind the pipes was a tarnished key with a tag reading, East Wing Library. How Lillian knew about this was beyond her. But Emily was too curious to wait until morning. The mansion was a different place at night. Shadows stretched across marble floors, and family portraits seemed to follow her with their eyes. Emily used her phone's flashlight, careful to avoid security cameras she'd noticed earlier. She found the library after several wrong turns. The key fit perfectly, unlocking a massive room lined with leather-bound books, their spines gleaming in the moonlight streaming through tall windows. Unlike the rest of the house, this room felt lived in. A half-empty whiskey glass sat on a desk, papers scattered around it. Emily approached cautiously, scanning the documents. Carter Pharmaceuticals Annual Report. Read 1. Beneath it lay several medical journals open to articles on neurological treatments. Something caught her eye. A familiar name in one of the citations. Mitchell M. Her father's name, heart racing. Emily flipped through more papers. Most were financial reports, but one folder labeled Project Renewal contained technical documents far beyond her understanding. The name Mitchell appeared several more times. A sound in the hallway froze her in place. Footsteps approached, then passed. Emily exhaled slowly, gathering a few papers to photograph with her phone. As she turned to leave, her elbow knocked the whiskey glass, sending it crashing to the floor. She scrambled to clean it up, but voices outside the door made her duck behind a curtain instead. The door opened. Light flooded the room. "I don't care what time it is in Tokyo," a man's voice barked. "The CFO needs to explain these discrepancies now." Through the curtain's edge, Emily saw a tall, imposing figure stride to the desk. Vincent Carter, she presumed. David's father. She'd seen his photos in business magazines. In person, the hard lines of his face were accentuated by premature gray at his temples. "No, Mother, I'm not avoiding the board meeting," he continued, phone pressed to his ear. "David's new caretaker arrived today. Yes, I'll assess her myself before leaving." He paused, listening. His expression darkened. "I don't care what Dr. Whitaker says. If this one doesn't work out, we try again. My son is not going to some facility." Another pause. Vincent's grip tightened on the phone. "He's a 7-year-old boy, not a PR liability. I have to go. Someone's been in here." Emily's breath caught as he stared directly at the broken glass she'd failed to clean up. He ended his call, eyes scanning the room. For a terrible moment, it seemed he was looking right at her hiding place. But then he turned away, muttering about careless staff. After he left, Emily waited 5 excruciating minutes before slipping out and racing back to her room, heart pounding. Key morning brought routine. Mrs. Reynolds explained David's schedule, medications at precise times, physical therapy exercises, quiet activities, nothing that utilized the cognitive development techniques Emily specialized in. "What about stimulation, learning activities?" Emily asked over breakfast, which she ate alone since David took his meals in his room. "Dr. Whitaker believes overstimulation aggravates his condition," Mrs. Reynolds replied stiffly. "And what exactly is his full diagnosis?" "That information is in his medical file, which Dr. Whitaker will review with you at his next visit." Emily spent the morning following David's prescribed routine, taking mental notes of his medications. Many were powerful sedatives, enough to keep anyone in a near-vegetative state, let alone a small child. When she helped him bathe, she noticed unusual bruising around his injection sites, evidence of long-term aggressive treatment. What condition could possibly warrant this pharmaceutical assault on a child's body? By afternoon, Emily had made her decision, as she supervised David's quiet time, him staring blankly at educational television he clearly wasn't absorbing. She placed her hand gently over his. "David," she whispered, "I think you're in there somewhere, and I'm going to help you find your way out." For just a moment, his fingers curled around hers. That evening, Vincent Carter appeared in the doorway during David's dinner. Emily jumped, nearly spilling the pureed food she'd been coaxing into the boy's mouth. "Mr. Carter, I didn't hear you come in." Vincent's eyes, the same startling blue as his son's, assessed her coolly. "Miss Cross, how is he today?" Following his routine, sir. Emily straightened. Though I was hoping to discuss some alternative approaches that might. Dr. Whitaker handles his treatment plan. Vincent cut her off. But without the dismissiveness of the housekeeper or doctor, there was something else in his voice. Exhaustion. Perhaps even resignation. He approached David, awkwardly patting the boy's shoulder. David didn't react, continuing to stare at nothing. I'll be traveling for the next 2 weeks, Vincent said, turning back to Emily. Mrs. Reynolds will assist you with anything you need, as he turned to leave. Emily gathered her courage. Sir, may I ask what happened to David's mother? Vincent froze, his back to her. She decided a disabled child wasn't part of her life plan. His voice was low, dangerous. Don't mention her again. After he left, Emily sat beside David, processing this new information. Looks like it's just you and me for a while, buddy. Later, alone in her room, Emily called Lillian again. I found something, Gran. Dad's name is all over their research papers. I knew it, Lillian whispered. Emily, be careful. The Carters destroyed your father when he wouldn't sell them his formula. They'll do the same to you if they discover who you are. I'm not leaving, Emily said, watching the moon rise over the estate grounds. David needs me. He's being drugged into submission, Gran. Whatever's happening here, that little boy is paying the price. Just like your father paid, Lillian murmured. Just like we all did. Emily started small. On day 3, she accidentally missed David's mid-morning sedative, diluting it in the sink instead of adding it to his juice. By lunchtime, his eyes tracked her movements around the room. A subtle change. But to Emily, it was like watching a light slowly switch on. I know you're in there, she whispered, while combing his unruly curls. And I think all these medications are keeping you locked away. That night, Emily pored over her father's old research journals that Lillian had shipped overnight in a care package of homemade cookies, between bites of snickerdoodle. She studied Mark Mitchell's elegant handwriting describing neural pathway development in children with cerebral palsy. Traditional treatments suppress symptoms rather than encouraging neuroplasticity, he'd written. Music and rhythmic stimulation have shown remarkable results in establishing new neural connections. The next morning, Emily brought her phone and small speaker to David's room. We're trying something different today, she announced, as if he could argue. Music therapy. She started with classical pieces, watching his face for reactions. Nothing. She tried jazz, pop, even heavy metal. Nothing. Then, on a whim, she played a simple piano lullaby her father used to hum. David's hand twitched. His eyes widened slightly. You like that one? Emily played it again, taking his hands in hers, helping him tap along to the rhythm. My dad used to play this for me. For 6 days, Emily carefully adjusted David's routine. She maintained the appearance of following Dr. Whitaker's regimen while implementing her own therapy sessions. She reduced medications gradually, recorded his baseline responses, and introduced tactile stimulation exercises from her father's research. On the 7th day, David spoke. Blue. The word was raspy from disuse, barely audible, but undeniably there. He'd been finger painting, another unauthorized activity, and pointed to the blue paint with a trembling finger. Yes. Emily could barely contain herself. That's blue, can you say it again? Blue, he repeated, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips. Emily wanted to dance around the room. Instead, she carefully documented the breakthrough in her hidden journal. Not in the official logs that Dr. Whitaker reviewed. Something told her this progress needed to remain their secret. What the hell are you doing? Emily jumped, nearly dropping the physical therapy ball she'd been using with David. She turned to find Vincent Carter in the doorway, his expression unreadable. Mr. Carter, you're back early. I asked what you're doing. This isn't part of David's approved therapy. His voice was cold, but his eyes moved from Emily to his son, with something like confusion before Emily could answer. David did something extraordinary. He rolled the therapy ball back to her and made a small sound of impatience when she didn't immediately roll it back. Vincent stepped forward, watching the exchange with disbelief. He's engaging with you. Yes, Emily held her ground. I've been incorporating some additional therapies that encourage response and interaction. His muscle tone has improved, and he's starting to communicate. Dr. Whitaker said his condition was irreversible. Vincent approached cautiously, as if David might disappear if he moved too quickly. He said further development was impossible. With all due respect, sir, Dr. Whitaker is wrong. Emily took a deep breath. Your son has been over-medicated to the point of suppressing his natural cognitive functions. The cerebral palsy affects his motor skills. Yes, but his mind is intact. Vincent knelt beside David's wheelchair. Is this true, son? Are you in there? David's eyes, clear and focused without the full dose of sedatives, met his father's. His hand moved slowly, deliberately, until his small fingers touched Vincent's larger ones. "Blue," David said, pointing at his father's tie. "Like sky." Vincent Carter, the infamous hard-nosed pharmaceutical magnate, broke. Tears filled his eyes as he took his son's hand between both of his. "Yes," he whispered, "like the sky." Emily quietly stepped back, giving them space for what was clearly their first real interaction in years. Later, after David had been put to bed, Vincent summoned Emily to his study. "Explain everything," he demanded, pouring himself a generous whiskey. "And don't leave anything out." For nearly an hour, Emily outlined her observations and the modifications she'd made. She carefully framed her approach as standard therapeutic techniques, never mentioning her father's research or her specialized training. Just in case this apparent transformation in Vincent was an act, the medications prescribed by Dr. Whitaker are predominantly sedatives and mood stabilizers, she explained. They're treating symptoms that could be addressed through therapy instead. In fact, they're creating additional problems by suppressing his cognitive functions. Vincent sat silently, absorbing her words. Finally, he asked, "Why didn't the other specialists see this?" "Perhaps they weren't looking," Emily said carefully. "Or perhaps they were instructed to maintain a certain protocol." Vincent's eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting someone deliberately kept my son in that state?" Before Emily could answer, the study door swung open. An elegant older woman in a designer suit swept in, followed by Dr. Whitaker. "Vincent, darling, why didn't you tell me you were coming home early?" The woman kissed Vincent's cheek, then turned cold eyes toward Emily. "And this must be the new nanny. Mother, this is Emily Cross." Vincent's voice tightened. "Emily, my mother, Valerie Carter." Valerie Carter was formidable in person. Tall, regal, with silver blonde hair perfectly coiffed. Her resemblance to Vincent was striking, but where his eyes showed hints of humanity, hers were calculating. "Miss Cross," her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Dr. Whitaker tells me you've been creative with David's care. I've been implementing additional therapeutic techniques," Emily replied evenly, "with positive results." Dr. Whitaker stepped forward. "Whatever results you think you're seeing are likely temporary responses that could heighten expectations unrealistically. David's condition requires stable management, not experimental approaches." "He spoke today," Vincent interjected. "He recognized me." Valerie and Dr. Whitaker exchanged a quick glance that Emily caught, but Vincent missed. "Vincent?" Valerie laid a manicured hand on her son's arm. "We've been through this before. Don't let yourself hope too much. Remember what happened with that specialist from Sweden? You were devastated when David regressed. This is different." Vincent pulled away from his mother's touch. "I want to see where this leads." Valerie's smile tightened. "Of course, darling. But Dr. Whitaker should supervise any changes to David's regimen. After all, that's why we keep him on retainer, isn't it?" The tension in the room was palpable. Emily knew she was witnessing a power struggle, but couldn't yet determine all the players or stakes. "Miss Cross?" Dr. Whitaker's tone was professionally dismissive. "Please provide me with detailed notes on any deviations you've made from my prescribed care plan. I'll need to assess potential risks immediately." "Of course, doctor," Emily replied, knowing her sanitized official records showed nothing unusual. As the meeting ended, Vincent caught Emily's arm in the hallway. "Don't stop what you're doing," he said quietly. "But be careful, my mother. She means well." "But she's controlling when it comes to David." Emily nodded, not trusting herself to speak. If he only knew who she really was, whose daughter she was, would he still want her help? Or would she be dismissed like all the others who had tried to help David that night, as she checked on David before bed? He was awake, eyes bright in the dim light. "Emily," he whispered. The first time he'd said her name. Bad lady. Coming. A chill ran down Emily's spine. What bad lady, David? But he had already retreated into silence, his gaze now fixed on the window where rain had begun to fall, pattering against the glass like warning fingers. Vincent Carter began visiting his son daily. It started awkwardly, stilted conversations and uncertain touches, but Emily watched as the ice between them slowly melted. He used to love boats, Vincent mentioned one afternoon, watching David manipulate clay with improving dexterity. Before the accident, I was teaching him to sail on the lake. What accident? Emily asked, seizing the opportunity to gather information. Vincent's face darkened. When he was 2, he was with the nanny in my car. The brakes failed coming down the mountain road from our summer house. His hands clenched. The nanny died. David survived, but with additional trauma to his already compromised nervous system. That's when Julia, his mother, left. I'm sorry, Emily said softly. That must have been devastating. My mother handled everything. The medical decisions, the specialists, the legal aftermath. Vincent watched his son with haunted eyes. I wasn't coping well. I trusted her judgment. Maybe I shouldn't have. Emily carefully kept her expression neutral. It's difficult to know what's best when you're in pain. Dad, David called out suddenly, his speech still halting but increasingly clear. Look, he'd molded the clay into a rough boat shape. Vincent stared, then laughed. A short, rusty sound, as if he'd forgotten how. That's right, son. That's a boat. Emily excused herself, giving father and son privacy, while she digested this new information, the accident that had worsened David's condition. Could it have been more than an accident? Lillian had hinted that the Carters were dangerous. What lengths might Valerie Carter go to if she saw her grandson as a liability? Emily was filing her nightly notes when a knock came at her door. She quickly hid her personal journal before answering. Vincent stood in the hallway looking uncomfortable. May I come in? I'd like to speak privately. Emily nodded, suddenly aware of her casual attire, leggings and an oversized t-shirt. Vincent himself was still in his business suit, though he'd removed his tie and unbuttoned his collar. I'm leaving for New York tomorrow, he said, perching awkwardly on the edge of her desk chair. Board meetings I can't postpone. David will miss you, Emily replied. He's thriving with your attention. That's what I wanted to discuss. Vincent looked directly at her. My mother will be here in my absence. She has strong opinions about David's care. I've noticed. She means well. She's always protected me, especially after my father died. His expression softened momentarily. But I want you to continue what you're doing with David, regardless of what she or Whitaker say. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. This is my private number, not my assistant. Not my office. Me, if there are any problems, any at all, call immediately. Emily took the card, their fingers brushing momentarily. She felt a strange flutter in her chest that had nothing to do with her mission. I will. Vincent lingered, seeming reluctant to leave. You know, I've hired dozens of specialists over the years. None of them connected with him like you have. I believe in looking beyond the diagnosis to the person, Emily said carefully. Where did you train? Your methods are unusual, a dangerous question. Emily chose her words carefully. I developed most of them during my work with special needs children at St. Helena, the medical center. Vincent frowned. They have an excellent pediatric program. Why leave for nanny work? Budget cuts, Emily lied smoothly. The Carter Foundation pulled funding from my department. Vincent's eyebrows shot up. The Carter Foundation, that's my mother's pet project. I had no idea they funded St. Helena. Most major hospitals receive some Carter funding, Emily replied, heart pounding. She'd said too much. Vincent studied her for a long moment. There's something different about you, Emily Cross. Something familiar I can't quite place. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it and sighed. My mother, always checking up. He rose to leave, then paused at the door. Thank you for giving me my son back. After he left, Emily collapsed onto her bed, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She was playing a dangerous game. Developing feelings for the son of the man who destroyed her father was definitely not part of her plan. Whoa! The next morning, Vincent said goodbye to David with a real hug. perhaps their first in years. Before departing for New York, Emily watched, touched despite herself, as David waved until his father's car disappeared down the long driveway. They were halfway through morning therapy when Mrs. Reynolds appeared at the door. "Miss Cross, there's someone here to see David." Valerie Carter swept into the room like royalty entering a peasant's hut. Today she wore a crisp white pantsuit that probably cost more than Emily's entire wardrobe. "Grandmother has arrived," she announced, as if speaking to an audience rather than a small boy and his caretaker. "David, darling, come give me a kiss." To Emily's surprise, David shrank back in his chair. "No," he said clearly. "No kiss." Valerie froze, her practiced smile faltering. "What did he say?" "He said no," Emily replied, fighting to keep the satisfaction from her voice. "He's making his own choices now." Valerie's eyes narrowed to dangerous slits. "Dr. Whitaker warned me you were interfering with his medication schedule. I see he was right." "I've followed the official care plan," Emily said, technically truthful. Her unofficial interventions weren't documented anywhere Whitaker could see. "David has never spoken like this before," Valerie said accusingly. Perhaps he never had anything he wanted to say. Emily stood protectively beside David's chair. Or perhaps no one was listening. Valerie's nostrils flared, but she quickly composed herself. "Mrs. Reynolds, please take David for his mid-morning snack. I'd like to speak with Miss Cross alone." Once they were gone, Valerie's mask dropped completely. "Let me be perfectly clear. My grandson's condition is delicate. The regimen developed by Dr. Whitaker has kept him stable for 5 years. Whatever amateur techniques you're employing, stop now. With all due respect, Mrs. Carter, your son has approved my therapeutic approach. My son is an emotional man easily manipulated by pretty faces." Valerie's smile was razor sharp. "He doesn't understand David's medical needs as I do." "And what needs are those?" Emily challenged. "To keep him drugged into submission." Valerie stepped closer, her perfume expensively overwhelming. "You have no idea what you're meddling with. A Carter heir must be perfect. Vincent cannot have his image tarnished by a disabled child, especially now that the company is expanding into new markets." The callousness took Emily's breath away. "David is a little boy, not a PR problem. He's both." Valerie's voice hardened. "And you are easily replaced, remember that." With that, she swept from the room, leaving Emily shaking with rage. This woman had orchestrated her father's downfall, stolen his research, and now was deliberately suppressing her own grandson's development, all to maintain the pristine Carter image. Later that afternoon, a messenger delivered a package to Emily. Inside was a sleek laptop with a note from Vincent. "For tracking David's progress, password is his birthday." That night, after David was asleep, Emily used the laptop to access the Carter Pharmaceuticals network. Vincent had unknowingly given her the key to everything her father had lost. As data filled the screen, Emily didn't notice the small red light blinking on the smoke detector above her desk. A camera recording her every move. Emily couldn't wait to tell Lillian about her discovery. She drove through Chicago's rain-slicked streets the next morning, having convinced Mrs. Reynolds that David needed a day of rest after his exciting breakthrough. In reality, she needed to show her grandmother what she'd found on Vincent's laptop. Lillian's small apartment was warm and cluttered, smelling of cinnamon and old books. Despite her frail appearance, her eyes lit up when Emily entered. "Tell me everything," she demanded. Even before Emily removed her raincoat, Emily pulled out printed documents from her bag. "Look at this. I accessed their research database." She spread papers across the kitchen table. "Project Renewal. It's Dad's formula, Gran. They barely changed it. And look at the original trial dates, just 3 months after Dad died." Lillian's hands trembled as she examined the papers. "I knew it. All these years. They've been profiting from his work." "There's more," Emily continued. "I think David's accident wasn't an accident at all. Vincent mentioned brake failure, but I found an internal memo questioning the inspection report. It was buried deep in their legal files. Would they really hurt their own grandson?" Lillian looked horrified. "Not Vincent," Emily clarified. "He genuinely loves David. But Valerie, you should hear how she talks about him. Like he's a PR liability, she's keeping him drugged to hide his condition." Lillian sat heavily, her expression distant. "I need to show you something." She disappeared into her bedroom, returning with a yellowed newspaper clipping. "I've kept this all these years. I couldn't bring myself to show you before." Emily took the brittle paper. It was a society page from 25 years earlier, a photo of a younger Valerie Carter at a charity gala. Beside her stood a handsome man Emily recognized from photos. Her father, Mark Mitchell. Dad knew Valerie. Lillian nodded grimly. "They were colleagues first, then more. I think she expected him to leave your mother for her. But he didn't. A month later, he was working for their competitor. A year after that, he was dead." Emily stared at the photo, new understanding dawning. This wasn't just about business. It was personal. "Hell hath no fury," Lillian murmured. "But that was decades ago. Why would she still? Some people can sustain hatred forever." "Emily, it gives them purpose." Emily sank into a chair, mind reeling. "David said something about a bad lady coming. I thought he meant Valerie, but what if he meant someone else?" Lillian clutched her granddaughter's hand. "Emily, promise me you'll be careful if Valerie discovers who you really are." "She won't," Emily assured her, though uncertainty gnawed at her confidence. "I need to get back to David." As she rose to leave, a news alert flashed on her phone. Carter Pharmaceuticals announces revolutionary neurological treatment. Accompanying the headline was a photo of Vincent at a press conference, looking polished but tired. Lillian saw it too. The anniversary gala. What gala? Carter Pharmaceuticals turns 50 next month. It's all over the business news. There's going to be a huge celebration at the mansion. Emily's pulse quickened. That's my chance. If I can find definitive proof by then, I can expose them publicly when all eyes are on the company. Or you could leave now. With what you already have, Lillian countered. Emily shook her head. It's not enough. They'd bury it with their legal team, besides. She hesitated. I can't abandon David. He's making real progress. Lillian studied her granddaughter's face. Be honest, Emily. Is this still about your father? Or is it becoming something else? Emily couldn't answer. Returning to the mansion, Emily was surprised to find an unfamiliar car in the driveway, a sleek convertible that screamed money and attention. Inside, she heard a woman's laughter drifting from the main sitting room. "Ah, the nanny returns." Valerie's voice dripped with condescension as Emily entered. "Come meet our guest." A stunning blonde woman rose from the sofa. Even without introduction, Emily recognized her from tabloid covers and reality TV snippets. Julia Hastings, former model, socialite, and David's absent mother. "So you're the miracle worker," Julia said, extending a manicured hand. "Valerie tells me you've done wonders with my darling boy." Emily shook her hand, noting the absence of any calluses or signs of real work. "David is making progress through consistent therapy and reduced medication." Reduced medication. Julia's perfectly sculpted eyebrows arched. "Is that safe?" "Perfectly safe," Emily assured her. "In fact, it's allowing his natural abilities to surface." "How fascinating," Julia replied. Though her eyes showed no real interest, she turned to Valerie. "May I see him now?" "Of course, darling. He's been waiting for you." Emily highly doubted that. "David is usually napping at this hour. We've made an exception for this special reunion," Valerie said icily. "Run along and prepare him, won't you?" Emily hurried to David's room, finding him already dressed in clothes she'd never seen before, a miniature suit that made him look like a corporate heir rather than a little boy. "David," she said gently, kneeling beside his wheelchair. "Someone's here to see you. It's your mother." David's eyes widened with what Emily recognized as fear, not excitement. "No," he whispered. "Bad lady." Emily's heart sank. "You remember her?" He nodded frantically. "Hurt. She hurt." Before Emily could ask more, the door swung open. Julia swept in, cameras clicking in her mind's eye, though none were physically present. "My precious boy," she exclaimed, bending to embrace David, who stiffened in her arms. "Mommy's back." Valerie followed, watching the scene with calculating eyes. "Isn't this wonderful?" "David, your mother has returned just as she promised." Emily caught the lie. According to Vincent, Julia had abandoned them, not promised to return. Something was very wrong with this reunion. "David needs consistency," Emily interjected. "Sudden changes can be disruptive to his progress." Julia straightened. a brittle smile fixed on her perfect face. "Naturally, I'll work with you to ensure a smooth transition. Now that I've found healing through my spiritual journey, I'm ready to be the mother he deserves." How convenient that your spiritual journey coincides with Carter Pharmaceuticals' record-breaking stock performance, Emily couldn't help remarking. Valerie's eyes flashed dangerously. "Miss Cross, remember your place. Julia is David's mother. Her rights supersede any attachment you may have formed." David reached for Emily's hand, his small fingers seeking reassurance. "I'm not leaving you," she whispered to him. "Actually," Julia said, examining her flawless nails, "I was thinking David might benefit from coming to live with me in Malibu. The ocean air would be wonderful for his health." David's grip tightened painfully on Emily's hand. "Vincent would never agree to that," Emily said confidently. "Vincent and I are discussing a reconciliation," Julia replied smoothly. "For David's sake, of course." The pieces suddenly clicked into place. Valerie was orchestrating this whole scenario, bringing Julia back to neutralize Emily's influence, and perhaps even Vincent's growing independence. "If you'll excuse us," Valerie smiled thinly. Julia would like some private time with her son. Emily hesitated, looking at David's frightened face. "I don't think—" "That wasn't a request, Miss Cross." Reluctantly, Emily left, but not before whispering to David, "I'll be right outside. You're safe." In the hallway, she immediately texted Vincent, "Your ex-wife is here with your mother. They're talking about moving David to Malibu. Call me." No response came. After 30 excruciating minutes, Julia emerged from David's room. "Poor little thing got all worn out and fell asleep," she announced. "We'll continue our reunion tomorrow." Emily rushed into the room to find David curled in his bed, his eyes closed but his body tense. "They're gone," she whispered. His eyes flew open, wet with tears. Take me." "I won't," Emily promised, stroking his hair. "I won't let anyone take you away." But as she heard Valerie and Julia laughing downstairs, Emily wondered how she could possibly keep that promise against such powerful opponents. Vincent still hadn't returned Emily's urgent texts by morning. She tried calling, but it went straight to voicemail, with no other options. She focused on protecting David from whatever Valerie and Julia were planning. She was helping David with breakfast when a tap on the window startled her. A man stood outside, motioning her to come out, tall and lean with a baseball cap pulled low. His face was hard to make out. "Who's that?" David asked, his speech improving daily. "I don't know, buddy. Stay here for a minute." Emily stepped onto the patio, keeping a safe distance from the stranger. "Emily Cross." His voice was quiet, cultured. "Who wants to know?" "Someone who shares your interest in Carter family secrets." He glanced nervously toward the house. "I need to speak with you privately. It's about Mark Mitchell's formula." Emily's blood ran cold. "How do you—" "The coffee shop on Mapleton Drive, 10 o'clock. He backed away. "Come alone. Trust no one in that house." Before she could respond, he disappeared into the garden shrubbery. Mrs. Reynolds agreed to watch David during his rest period, allowing Emily a brief window to meet the mysterious man. The coffee shop was a small, unremarkable place. In the back corner sat her contact, now without the cap, revealing wavy dark hair streaked with premature gray. "Thank you for coming," he said as she slid into the seat across from him. "I wasn't sure you would. Who are you?" "Oliver Banks." He offered his hand. "At least, that's who I am now." Emily didn't take it. "What do you want?" "To help you." His eyes, strikingly familiar, searched hers. "And to help David? You've been making remarkable progress with him." "How could you possibly know that?" A sad smile crossed his face. "Because I've been watching the house for months, gathering evidence, originally against Vincent. But now," he shook his head, "things have changed. You still haven't told me who you really are." Oliver, if that was his name, leaned forward. 5 years ago, I was Damien Carter, Vincent's younger brother." Emily stared in disbelief. "Damien Carter died in a climbing accident in Colorado. That's the official story." His fingers drummed nervously on the table. "The truth is, I found documents, proof that my mother and Vincent stole Mark Mitchell's formula and deliberately caused his death. When I confronted them, my accident was arranged. Only, I survived. Why should I believe you? Because you're Mark Mitchell's daughter." His gaze was unwavering. "Yes, I know who you are. I've done my research too." Emily felt exposed, vulnerable. "How?" "The same way you've been investigating the Carters." He slid a folder across the table. "This is just a sample of what I have. Financial records showing payments to the medical examiner who ruled your father's death natural causes. The original brake inspection report from David's accident, mysteriously replaced in the official investigation." Emily's hands trembled as she opened the folder. "Why are you showing me this now?" "Because time is running out. My mother is making her final move, using Julia to regain control of Vincent and eliminate David as an heir." "Eliminate? You don't mean—" "I don't know how far she'll go." His expression darkened. "But David wasn't supposed to survive that car crash 5 years ago. It was meant for both him and the nanny." Emily felt sick. "We need to go to the police." "With what? Circumstantial evidence against one of the most powerful families in America?" Damien shook his head. "We need something irrefutable, and we need to protect David until we have it." "The company anniversary gala," Emily realized. "Everyone will be there. Press, shareholders, board members." "Exactly," Damien nodded. "The perfect opportunity to expose everything." "But how do I know this isn't a trap? That you're not working for Valerie?" Damien unbuttoned his shirt collar, revealing a jagged scar running down his neck. "This is what loyalty to Valerie Carter earned me. My own mother tried to have me killed because I threatened her precious company image." The raw pain in his voice convinced Emily more than any document could. "All right, I'm listening." They spent the next hour formulating a plan. Damien had been gathering evidence for years, living under his new identity while working his way into Carter Pharmaceuticals' inner circle as a potential investor. "Vincent doesn't recognize me," he explained. "Multiple surgeries change my appearance, and he never looks closely at anyone these days. But I need access to the secure archives in the East Wing. That's where the original research documents would be." "I have a key to the library," Emily admitted, "but not to the archives. The gala will be our chance. Security will be focused on the guests, not the private areas." Damien checked his watch. "You should get back before you're missed." As Emily stood to leave, he caught her arm. "Be careful around Julia. She's desperate and dangerous. The perfect puppet for my mother." And Emily returned to find the mansion in an uproar. Julia was berating a staff member in the foyer, while Valerie watched with cold amusement. "Where have you been?" Valerie demanded when she spotted Emily. "David has been asking for you." "I had a personal errand." Emily moved toward the stairs. "In the future, clear all absences with me." Valerie's tone permitted no argument. "Julia has decided to extend her stay. We're preparing the East Wing suite for her." Emily nodded, hiding her alarm. The East Wing, where the archives were located, the very place she and Damien needed to access. In David's room, she found him agitated, refusing to cooperate with the physical therapist Valerie had apparently called in during her absence. "Emily," David's relief was palpable. "You came back." "Of course I did." She dismissed the therapist with a look. "I'll always come back for you." Once they were alone, David whispered, "She tried to take me." "Who, David?" "Your mother." He nodded frantically. "Car," she wanted. "In car." A chill ran down Emily's spine. Julia had tried to remove David from the property while she was gone. "Listen to me." Emily knelt to his level. "No one is taking you anywhere, I promise." That evening, Vincent finally called back. "Emily, I've been in back-to-back meetings. What's this about Julia?" She explained the situation, including David's fear and Julia's attempt to take him. "That's impossible," Vincent responded, though doubt colored his voice. "Julia signed away her parental rights years ago in exchange for a substantial settlement. She has no legal claim to David." "Your mother seemed very supportive of her," Emily pressed. "Mother always had a soft spot for Julia, despite everything." Vincent sighed heavily. "I'm cutting my trip short. I'll be home tomorrow evening." After hanging up, Emily checked on David one last time before bed. He was sleeping peacefully for once, clutching a small toy boat she'd helped him make. Returning to her room, she found her door slightly ajar, heart pounding. She pushed it open slowly. Julia sat at her desk, the laptop open before her. "Looking for something?" Emily asked coldly. Julia didn't even pretend to be embarrassed. "Just getting to know my son's caretaker better." She stood, smoothing her designer dress. You and Vincent have been quite communicative lately. About David's care? Of course. Julia's smile was predatory, though it seems you have other interests as well. Project Renewal makes for fascinating reading. Emily's mouth went dry. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. Emily Mitchell. Julia's voice hardened. Or did you think no one would notice the daughter of Mark Mitchell infiltrating the Carter household? The floor seemed to shift beneath Emily's feet. How did you? Facial recognition software is remarkably good these days. Valerie had her suspicions from the start. Julia moved toward the door. The question is, what to do about you now? If anything happens to me, everything I've found goes public, Emily bluffed. So dramatic, Julia laughed. No one's planning to harm you. In fact, you've been quite useful. David's improvements make him much more valuable now. Valuable? He's a child, not an asset. He's a Carter heir with a trust fund worth billions and a voting share in the company that activates on his 18th birthday. Julia's eyes glittered with greed. As his mother and guardian, I'd control that vote until then. Valerie finds that arrangement convenient. Vincent will never allow it. Vincent is being managed. Julia's hand rested on the doorknob. Just as you have been, sweet dreams, Emily. Enjoy your last night in this house. After Julia left, Emily sank onto her bed, mind racing. Her cover was blown. David was in immediate danger, and Vincent was still hours away. She needed to act now. Grabbing her phone, she texted the number Damien had given her. They know who I am. We move tonight. The reply came instantly. East Gate. 1 hour. Bring David. Adrenaline surged through Emily's veins as she crept through the darkened hallway to David's room. The mansion's normal creaks and groans seemed amplified. Every shadow a potential threat. She found David asleep, his face peaceful in the soft glow of his nightlight. David, she whispered, gently shaking his shoulder. Wake up, buddy. We need to go. His eyes fluttered open, instantly alert. Bad ladies. Yes. Emily's heart broke at his immediate understanding. We need to leave for a little while. She quickly gathered essentials, medications she couldn't skip. His warmest jacket, the toy boat he loved, working efficiently. She disabled the simplest of his monitors that might trigger alarms and bundled him into his wheelchair. Adventure? David asked, his voice tinged with both fear and excitement. A very quiet adventure, Emily confirmed, pressing her finger to her lips. The service corridors were their best option. Emily had mapped them during her late-night explorations weeks earlier, noting which doors squeaked and which security cameras had blind spots. Pushing David's wheelchair carefully to minimize noise, she navigated the labyrinth of narrow passages used by staff. They were almost to the east wing exit when footsteps approached from around the corner. Emily quickly backed into an alcove, holding her breath as Dr. Whitaker passed, deep in conversation with someone on his phone. Can't be rushed, he was saying tensely. The dosage has to be precise or it could be traced. Yes, I understand the urgency, but... He paused, listening. Fine. Tomorrow night then. Emily's blood ran cold. She didn't need context to understand the implications of his words. Once Whitaker disappeared down another corridor, she rushed forward, reaching the east gate where Damien was waiting in a nondescript sedan. You made it, he said, helping her load David into the back seat. Any trouble? We overheard Whitaker planning something for tomorrow night, Emily explained as they drove away from the estate. Something about dosages that couldn't be traced. Damien's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. She's escalating the timeline. We need to move faster. Where are we going? Emily asked, keeping her voice calm for David's sake. Somewhere safe, a place Mother doesn't know about. 20 minutes later, they arrived at a modest lakeside cabin. Though rustic from the outside, the interior was retrofitted with modern amenities and security systems. I bought this under my new identity, Damien explained, helping David settle into a bedroom clearly prepared for their arrival. No connection to the Carter name. Once David was asleep again, Emily and Damien sat at the kitchen table spreading out their evidence. Julia exposed me, Emily said. They know I'm Mark Mitchell's daughter. I'm not surprised, Damien replied. Mother has been suspicious for weeks. That's why I accelerated our timeline. We still don't have enough. Emily gestured at their documents. Nothing directly proving they stole my father's formula or orchestrated his death. But we have this. Damien pulled a flash drive from his pocket. I retrieved it from an old safe deposit box today. It's my father's private journal. He documented everything. His suspicions about Mother's involvement with your father, the sudden acquisition of the formula after Mark's death, even his concerns about Mother's attitude toward David after his diagnosis. Emily connected the drive to her laptop, her heart racing as she scanned the journal entries. Charles Carter's elegant handwriting detailed his growing suspicions about his wife's ruthless business tactics and mysterious relationship with Mark Mitchell. He believed she was having an affair, Emily noted, reading further. And when my father ended it, she never forgave him, Damien finished. My father suspected, but could never prove, that Mother had something to do with Mark's sudden illness. A particular entry caught Emily's eye. Valerie insisted we move forward with the Mitchell formula despite my ethical concerns. When I suggested reaching out to Mitchell's widow for proper compensation, she became enraged. Something is very wrong. I've engaged a private investigator to look into Mark's death. God help us all if what I suspect is true. 2 weeks later, Charles Carter died of an apparent heart attack. He was going to expose her, Emily whispered, and she couldn't allow that. Damien's voice was hollow. Just like she couldn't allow me to question her methods 5 years ago, Emily continued reading, finding entries about young David. My grandson's diagnosis has affected Vincent deeply, but Valerie's reaction disturbs me. She spoke of family purity and Carter legacy in ways that chilled my blood. I've updated my will to protect the boy, but I fear it won't be enough. This is the motive, Emily realized. She couldn't bear having an imperfect heir. That's why she orchestrated the accident, and why she's been keeping him drugged and isolated, Damien agreed. A hidden Carter is better than one who might embarrass the family name. We still need the formula, Emily said. Proof that what Carter Pharmaceuticals markets as renewal is actually my father's work. There's only one place that would be, Damien replied. The secure archives in the East Wing, and our only chance to access them is during the gala when security is focused elsewhere. Emily thought of Dr. Whitaker's ominous phone conversation. We can't wait for the gala. They're planning something for tomorrow night. Then we move tomorrow, Damien decided. I'll call in a favor with a former colleague at the Chicago Tribune. If we get the evidence, he'll run the story immediately, as they finalize their plan. Emily's phone buzzed with a text from Vincent. Where are you? The house is in chaos. Call me immediately. Should I tell him? She asked Damien. He considered carefully. Not everything. Not yet. But we need him away from Mother's influence. Emily called Vincent, her heart pounding. Emily, where the hell are you? Where's David? His voice was frantic. We're safe, she assured him. Vincent, listen carefully. Julia and your mother are planning something dangerous. I overheard Dr. Whitaker discussing untraceable dosages. What are you talking about? My mother would never... The car accident 5 years ago wasn't an accident, Emily interrupted. And I have reason to believe your mother was involved. Silence stretched across the line when Vincent finally spoke. His voice was different, harder, colder. That's a serious accusation. I have evidence, Vincent, but I need more. Tomorrow night, I'm going to access the archives in the East Wing. I need you to keep your mother distracted. Why should I trust you? You've taken my son. Because David is talking, walking, and thriving under my care. All things Whitaker said were impossible. Because your mother brought Julia back not out of kindness, but as a tool to regain control of David. Because deep down, you've always known something wasn't right about your son's treatment. Another long pause. Bring David to the boathouse tomorrow at noon. Come alone. If your story checks out, I'll help you. After hanging up, Damien looked concerned. Can we trust him? I don't know, Emily admitted. But he loves David. That has to count for something. Late that night, as Damien slept on the couch, Emily checked on David. He was awake, looking out the window at the moonlit lake. Boat, he said, pointing to the water. That's right. Emily sat beside him. Your dad taught you about boats, didn't he? David nodded. Before bad things. He turned to her, his expression suddenly serious. Dad, good, Grandma. Not good. I know, buddy. Emily stroked his hair. We're going to make sure the not good people can't hurt you anymore. You stay." His small hand found hers. "Promise." Emily thought of her father, of justice long delayed, of her growing feelings for Vincent, and of this remarkable child who had somehow worked his way into her heart. "I promise," she said, knowing that whatever tomorrow brought, her life was now inextricably bound to David's. "No matter what happens, I'll be there for you." Outside, the wind picked up, sending ripples across the dark water as a storm approached, nature mirroring the tumult to come. The boathouse sat at the edge of the Carter estate, its weathered wood and glass windows reflecting the choppy waters of the private lake. Emily approached cautiously, David's wheelchair navigating the gravel path with difficulty. Damien had stayed back at the cabin, ready to execute their backup plan if things went wrong. "Boat," David said, pointing excitedly at the structure. "Dad's boat." "That's right." Emily squeezed his shoulder reassuringly. "We're going to see your dad." She checked her watch. Exactly noon, Vincent was punctual. If nothing else, the boathouse door swung open before they reached it. Vincent stood framed in the doorway, his normally impeccable appearance disheveled. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his jaw was tight with tension. "David," his voice softened as he knelt before his son's wheelchair. "Are you okay?" David nodded enthusiastically. "Adventure with him, Lee." Vincent's gaze shifted to Emily, hardening again. Inside, now, the boathouse interior was immaculate, with gleaming wooden boats suspended from the ceiling and expensive fishing gear lining the walls. A small sitting area overlooked the water. "Explain," Vincent demanded once they were settled. "And it better be convincing." Emily took a deep breath. "Your mother knows who I really am. Emily Mitchell, daughter of Mark Mitchell, the scientist who developed the formula that became renewal before he mysteriously died." Vincent's expression remained guarded. "You infiltrated my home under false pretenses." "Yes," Emily admitted. "Initially, I came for justice for my father, but then I met David, and everything changed. And now you're accusing my mother of... what, exactly?" Emily retrieved her phone, pulling up the journal entries Damien had provided. "Your father suspected your mother was involved in my father's death. He hired investigators before his own sudden death." Vincent scanned the entries, his face paling. "This could be fabricated." "It's not, and there's more." Emily outlined everything they'd discovered. The medications keeping David suppressed, Dr. Whitaker's sinister phone call, Julia's reappearance, and the plot to control David's inheritance. Vincent's composure fractured as she spoke. He paced the small room, occasionally glancing at his son, who was contentedly examining a model sailboat. "I knew something wasn't right," he finally admitted. "After you started changing his treatments, seeing him respond, it made me question everything. But my own mother," he shook his head. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Emily challenged. "She brought Julia back, a woman who abandoned her son, and is positioning her to take custody. Why would she do that unless she needed someone she could control?" "Proof," Vincent insisted. "I need absolute proof before I accuse my mother of trying to harm my son." Emily hesitated, then reached into her bag. She'd been working on a special project, a motorized walker she'd designed based on her father's research, tailored to David's specific needs. "This is based on my father's designs," she explained, unfolding the device. "The same principles that Carter Pharmaceuticals built Renewal on. I've been working on it at night, adapting it for David." Vincent examined it, his engineer's eye recognizing the innovative mechanisms. "This is remarkable." "David, want to show your dad what we've been practicing?" Emily asked. David nodded eagerly. With Emily's help, he transferred from the wheelchair to the walker. Vincent watched, transfixed, as his son gripped the handles and, with tremendous concentration, took 3 wobbly steps forward. That's impossible," Vincent whispered, tears forming in his eyes. "Whitaker said he would never walk." "Whitaker lied," Emily said simply. "On your mother's orders." David looked up at his father, a tentative smile on his face. "Boat now, Dad," Vincent broke. He fell to his knees, gathering his son in a gentle embrace. "Yes, David, boat anytime you want." As father and son reconnected, Emily stepped outside to give them privacy. Her phone buzzed. A text from Damien. Security increased at the mansion. "Something's happening. Be careful." When she returned, Vincent was helping David back into his wheelchair. "I can't believe I didn't see it," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "All these years, your mother is very good at manipulation," Emily replied. "But now we have a chance to expose everything. Tonight." Before they can move against David, Vincent stood, resolve hardening his features. "The archives. That's where the original research would be. Yes, we need to get in tonight. I have access," Vincent said. "But my mother will be watching me now that David's gone. She'll be suspicious. That's why you need to return to the house alone. Act concerned but not accusatory. Tell her you're meeting with security about David's disappearance." Vincent nodded slowly. "And you? I'll enter through the old service tunnel. Your brother showed me how." "My brother is dead," Vincent said sharply. Emily took a deep breath. "No, Vincent, he's not." The revelation of Damien's survival initially met with disbelief, then anger, and finally a stunned acceptance as Emily shared the evidence of Valerie's involvement in the accident. "I need to see him," Vincent insisted. "You will," Emily promised. "But first we need those documents." They finalized their plan. Vincent would return to the mansion, maintaining the pretense that he was working with authorities to find David. That evening, he would create a distraction, while Emily slipped into the archives through the service tunnels. As they prepared to part ways, Vincent caught Emily's arm. "Why are you really doing this? It can't just be about your father anymore." Emily looked at David, who was humming softly as he examined fishing lures. "It started as revenge," she admitted. "But now, I care about him. About both of you." Something shifted in Vincent's eyes, the last ice of suspicion melting. He stepped closer, his hand moving to cup her cheek. "Emily Mitchell," he murmured. "I should hate you for deceiving me, but you don't," she asked, her voice barely audible. His answer was a kiss, gentle at first, then deepening with urgency and longing. Emily responded, months of suppressed feelings breaking through her careful defenses. When they separated, both slightly breathless, Vincent rested his forehead against hers. "We have unfinished business. You and I." "Yes," she whispered, "but David comes first." "Always," he agreed, reluctantly stepping back. 8 p.m. East Wing Archives, don't be late. After Vincent left, Emily took David to meet Damien. The reunion between brothers was emotional. Damien visibly shocked by David's improvements. David initially shy but quickly warming to his uncle's obvious affection. As evening approached, Emily prepared for her mission. She would infiltrate the mansion while Damien stayed with David, ready to take him to safety if anything went wrong. "Be careful," Damien warned as she prepared to leave. "Mother will be on high alert if she suspects Vincent is helping you." "I'll be quick," Emily promised. Checking her phone one last time, a text from Lillian caught her attention. "Coming to help, almost there." Emily froze. "Oh no. What is it?" Damien asked. "My grandmother. She's on her way to the mansion." Lillian had indeed decided to take matters into her own hands. Arriving at the Carter estate in a taxi, she presented herself at the front gate with remarkable confidence for a woman in her 70s. "I'm here to see Valerie Carter," she informed the security guard. "Tell her Lillian Mitchell is here. She'll remember me." The name worked its magic minutes later. Lillian was escorted through the imposing front doors into a sitting room where Valerie Carter waited, her posture rigid with tension. "Lillian," Valerie said coolly, "after all these years, I assume you're here about your granddaughter's employment situation." "Emily always was headstrong," Lillian replied, settling into an armchair despite not being invited to sit. Just like her father, at the mention of Mark, something flickered across Valerie's perfect mask. "Yes? Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, though I hope she's less naive than Mark was." "Naive?" Lillian's eyes narrowed. "Is that what you call a man who refused to be bullied or bought?" The two women stared at each other, decades of history crackling between them. "We were friends once," Lillian continued, her voice softer. "Before Mark, before all of this." Valerie's laugh was brittle. "Friends? Is that how you remember it? You introduced me to your brilliant brother-in-law, knowing I was falling in love with him, then watched him choose your sister instead. He loved Grace." Lillian said simply. "You couldn't accept that. I could have given him everything." Valerie's composure cracked slightly. "Instead, he died in obscurity, and his formula made my family billions. Ironic, isn't it?" Lillian leaned forward. "So you admit it? You stole his research after you killed him?" Valerie's smile was chilling. "I admit nothing, and now, if you'll excuse me, I have a missing grandson to find and a company gala to prepare for." She stood, signaling the end of the conversation. "Though I suspect your granddaughter knows exactly where David is." As Lillian was escorted out, she passed Vincent in the hallway. Their eyes met briefly, his questioning, hers resolute. The game was now in motion. With David's life hanging in the balance, thunder rolled across the Chicago skyline as Emily made her way through the service tunnel. Guided by the blueprint Damien had provided, the storm that had been threatening all day had finally arrived. Matching the turbulence of her thoughts, Lillian's unexpected appearance at the mansion complicated everything. What if Valerie decided to use her grandmother as leverage? Her phone vibrated with a text from Vincent. "Mother distracted in West Wing. Security diverted, 20-minute window." Emily quickened her pace, navigating the damp, narrow passage until she reached the access door. The key Damien had given her turned smoothly in the lock, revealing a utility closet that opened into a seldom-used corridor of the East Wing. Moving silently, she followed Vincent's instructions. Arriving at an imposing oak door marked Private Archives, Vincent was already there, his expression tense as he ushered her inside. "Security cameras are on a loop," he whispered, locking the door behind them. "But we don't have much time." The archives were impressive. A climate-controlled room with rows of filing cabinets and glass display cases containing Carter Pharmaceuticals' most significant documents and prototypes. In any other circumstance, Emily would have appreciated the historical significance. Now, she focused solely on their mission. Project Renewal would be here. Vincent led her to a section marked Neurological Breakthroughs. The original research should be in these files. They worked methodically. Sifting through immaculately preserved documents, Vincent's hands froze as he pulled out a thick file labeled Mitchell Acquisition. "Here," he said, his voice hollow. "This is it." The file contained everything. Mark Mitchell's original formula, handwritten notes on his methodology, and most damning of all, a memo from Valerie to the board, dated 2 weeks after Mark's death, claiming the research as a Carter Pharmaceuticals development. "She erased him," Emily whispered, pain lancing through her chest as she touched her father's handwriting. "Just wrote him out of existence." Vincent's face had grown increasingly pale as he read through the documents. "There's more," he said, pulling out a thin folder marked Medical Interventions. Inside were records of payments to doctors, including Dr. Whitaker, with instructions for managing David's care. The language was carefully coded, but the intent was clear. Keep David sedated, limit his development, present his condition as far more severe than it was. "My God," Vincent breathed. "She's been deliberately suppressing his progress since he was diagnosed." "But why?" Emily asked. "He's your son. He's an imperfect heir." Vincent's voice was bitter. "Mother always said the Carter legacy had to be protected." "I thought she meant the company, but she meant the bloodline." His hands trembled with suppressed rage. "And I let her do it. I trusted her with my son." Emily placed her hand over his. "You didn't know. I should have," he replied, self-loathing evident in every word. "I was so focused on the company, on proving myself worthy of the Carter name, that I didn't see what was happening under my own roof." A sudden noise outside the archives snapped them both to attention. Vincent quickly photographed the most damning documents while Emily gathered physical evidence they could take, her father's original notes, the payment records to Whitaker. "Time's up," Vincent whispered as footsteps approached. The utility exit. Now, they had just reached the hidden door when the main entrance swung open. Valerie Carter stood framed in the doorway, her expression a mask of cold fury. Behind her loomed 2 security guards and Dr. Whitaker. "Vincent," she said, her voice eerily calm. "I thought I'd find you here." "Mother." Vincent stepped forward, deliberately placing himself between Valerie and Emily. "You have some explaining to do." "Do I?" Valerie glided into the room, her designer dress rustling softly with each step. I believe it's Miss Mitchell who owes us an explanation for kidnapping your son. David is safe, Vincent replied. Away from the drugs Whitaker's been pumping into him on your orders. A flicker of surprise crossed Valerie's perfect features before her composure returned. I see she's poisoned your mind with her ridiculous theories. Not theories. Vincent held up his phone, displaying the incriminating documents. Facts. You've been deliberately suppressing David's development, Mother. Why? Because he wasn't the perfect Carter heir you wanted. He was damaged, Valerie snapped, her mask finally cracking. A Carter with cerebral palsy. The board would never accept him as your successor. I was protecting him, protecting all of us. By drugging him into oblivion, Emily interjected. By staging an accident that made his condition worse. Valerie's gaze cut to Emily like a blade. You're just like your father. Naive, self-righteous, and ultimately expendable. So you admit it, Vincent said quietly. You killed Mark Mitchell and stole his research. I acquired his research after his unfortunate passing, Valerie corrected smoothly. Business, Vincent, something you've never fully understood despite my best efforts. And my brother's accident, Vincent pressed. Was that business too? Something flickered in Valerie's eyes, possibly the first genuine emotion Emily had seen there. Damien was going to ruin everything. He found old documents, started asking questions. I didn't want him hurt, just diverted. He's alive, Mother. The news hit Valerie like a physical blow. For a moment, she seemed genuinely shaken. Then her eyes narrowed. Impossible. He survived your attempt to kill him, Emily said. He's been gathering evidence against you for years. Whitaker shifted uncomfortably behind Valerie. Perhaps we should continue this discussion somewhere more private, he suggested, eyeing the security guards. There's nothing to discuss, Vincent declared. I'm taking this evidence to the police. It's over, Mother. Valerie's laugh was chilling. Oh, Vincent, it's never over. She nodded to the guards. Detain them both. Miss Mitchell is to be charged with kidnapping, and my son clearly needs medical attention. He's not thinking clearly. The guards hesitated, looking uncertainly between Vincent and Valerie. I'm the CEO, Vincent reminded them. And this is my house. And I'm the majority shareholder, Valerie countered. Thanks to your father's unfortunate passing before he could change his will. The standoff was broken by a commotion in the hallway. Julia burst in, mascara streaking down her face. They found him, she cried. David's been located at some cabin by the lake. The police are on their way now. Emily's blood ran cold. No, she whispered. Damien and David were supposed to be safe there. Vincent grabbed her arm. We need to go now. Taking advantage of the distraction, they bolted through the utility door. Slamming it shut behind them, Vincent led Emily through a maze of corridors she hadn't seen before, emerging into the stormy night through a side entrance. My car, he said, pulling her toward the garage. We need to reach them before the police do. As they raced through the rain, lightning illuminated the mansion behind them. In an upstairs window, a figure watched their escape. Valerie, her silhouette rigid with fury, already on her phone. Thunder crashed as Vincent's Aston Martin roared to life. The storm had intensified, turning roads treacherous, but Vincent drove with desperate determination. She'll destroy everything, Emily said, clutching the documents they'd managed to save. She'll claim I manipulated you, that Damien isn't really alive, that all of this is some elaborate scheme. Not this time. Vincent's jaw was set, his eyes fixed on the rain-slicked road. For once in my life, I'm seeing her clearly, and so is everyone else. Emily's phone rang. Damien. They found us, he said without preamble, his voice tight with tension. Someone must have tracked your phone. We're moving David now. Where? Emily asked. The only place she'd never expect. Damien replied cryptically. The place where it all began. Meet us there in 1 hour. The call ended abruptly. Emily relayed the message to Vincent, whose expression darkened. I know where he means, he said, making a sharp turn onto a different road. The old Mitchell house where your father lived. And died. Rain lashed the windshield as they raced against time, the storm growing more violent with each passing minute. Nature itself seemed to be building toward a cataclysm, mirroring the human drama unfolding beneath its fury. Behind them, multiple sets of headlights appeared. Valerie's security team in pursuit. "Hold on," Vincent warned, pressing the accelerator. The powerful car surged forward, but on the rain-slicked roads, even the best engineering had its limits. As they rounded a sharp curve, the tires lost traction. Emily's scream was lost in the thunder as the car spun, careening toward the guardrail that separated the road from a steep embankment. Vincent fought the wheel, but physics would not be denied, with a sickening crunch. The guardrail gave way, and for a moment, they were airborne. Then darkness claimed them, as the car tumbled down the hillside. The last thing Emily saw before losing consciousness was the irony of it all. Another accident on a rainy night, orchestrated by Valerie Carter to protect her precious legacy. Pain brought Emily back to consciousness, a sharp, throbbing ache in her head, and a dull burn along her left arm. The car had come to rest at an angle, its front end crumpled against a tree. Rain pounded the broken windshield, distorting her vision. "Vincent." Her voice was barely audible over the storm. She turned to find him slumped against the driver's door, a trickle of blood running down his temple. "Vincent." His eyes fluttered open. "Emily, are you—" "I'm okay," she assured him, though her body screamed otherwise. "We need to get out. Can you move?" Vincent tested his limbs gingerly. "Nothing broken. I think, just battered." They managed to force open the passenger door, half climbing, half falling out into the pouring rain. The embankment was steep but navigable, covered in undergrowth that had slowed their descent. "My phone," Emily realized, patting her soaked pockets. "It's gone." "Mine too," Vincent confirmed grimly. "Probably somewhere in the wreckage." Headlights swept across the road above them, accompanied by the wail of sirens. Valerie's security team had given way to actual police. "We can't let them find us," Vincent said, pulling Emily into the shelter of the trees. "Mother will have told them any story that serves her purpose." They stumbled through the woods, using lightning flashes to guide their way, both running on pure adrenaline. Emily's medical training told her they were likely in shock, their injuries temporarily masked by survival instinct. "How far to the Mitchell house?" she asked between labored breaths. 3 miles, maybe 4, Vincent replied. "We can cut through the Westlake property." The journey was nightmarish. Mud sucking at their feet, branches whipping their already battered bodies, the storm unleashing its full fury. By the time they reached the outskirts of an older, modest neighborhood, both were exhausted beyond measure. Mark Mitchell's former home stood at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, its mid-century architecture unremarkable except for the laboratory addition he'd built onto the back. Most of the lights were off, but a faint glow emanated from what had once been Mark's workspace. Vincent and Emily approached cautiously, circling to the rear entrance, through the rain-streaked windows. They could make out Damien pacing inside, while David sat bundled in blankets on an old couch. Lillian was there too, surprise of surprises, preparing something in the small kitchenette. Damien flung open the door at their knock, his expression shifting from wariness to alarm. "Jesus, what happened to you two?" "Mother happened," Vincent said grimly as they staggered inside. "Car accident, staged, most likely." Lillian rushed to Emily, her nurse's eyes cataloging injuries. "Sit down before you fall down, both of you." While Lillian tended to their wounds with the first aid kit Damien had brought, they exchanged information. Damien had indeed received warning that the cabin was compromised, but not from Emily's phone as they'd feared. "Dr. Whitaker called me," Lillian explained, dabbing antiseptic on Vincent's temple. "He's having a crisis of conscience, it seems. Said he couldn't be part of hurting a child anymore." "Whitaker," Vincent was incredulous. "He's been Mother's puppet for years. He was her lover once," Lillian said matter-of-factly, "and her accomplice in many things, including your father's death and Mark's. But even he has limits, apparently." "Bad doctor helped," David chimed in unexpectedly from his cocoon of blankets. "Now good." Emily moved to sit beside him. "You remember Dr. Whitaker from before, from when you were little?" David nodded solemnly. "Car crash he made. Brakes not work. The room fell silent, save for the pounding rain on the roof. He confessed everything to me," Lillian continued, her voice tight with old pain. "How Valerie orchestrated it all. Mark's poisoning, your father's heart attack, the attempt on Damien, the brake tampering that was meant to kill David but only killed his nanny. He's written it all down and gone to the police. Mother will discredit him, Vincent said. She'll claim he's mentally unstable, obsessed with her. She's done it before with others who've crossed her. Not this time, Damien interjected, opening his laptop. While you two were playing detective in the archives, I was broadcasting everything. He turned the screen to show them a live video feed. Valerie Carter in her element at the Carter Pharmaceuticals' 50th anniversary gala, which had apparently gone ahead despite the storm and the family drama. Elegant in black and diamonds, she was addressing a crowd of shareholders, board members, and press. Unfortunate disturbance earlier, but I'm pleased to report that my grandson has been found safe. The unstable caretaker who abducted him is in police custody and... Her smooth speech was interrupted. As the doors to the ballroom swung open, Dr. Calvin Whitaker walked in. Accompanied by 2 police detectives, the camera caught Valerie's momentary loss of composure before her mask slipped back into place. "Calvin, darling," she called, false cheer in her voice. "I'm so glad you could join us after all." Whitaker didn't respond to her greeting. Instead, he walked directly to the podium and took the microphone. "My name is Dr. Calvin Whitaker," he began, his voice shaking slightly. "For 25 years, I have been complicit in criminal acts orchestrated by Valerie Carter." The ballroom erupted in murmurs. Valerie's hand shot out to reclaim the microphone, but one of the detectives blocked her. "I have given a full statement to the authorities," Whitaker continued, "detailing my role in the death of Mark Mitchell, whose neurological research was stolen to create renewal, in the cardiac medication manipulation that killed Charles Carter, in the brake tampering that resulted in the death of Eliza Baker and the worsening of David Carter's condition, and in the deliberate medical suppression of David Carter to hide the extent of his abilities." The camera panned to show Valerie's face, a frozen mask of fury as her carefully constructed world imploded. "Additionally," Whitaker continued, "I have provided evidence of Valerie Carter's role in the presumed death of her son, Damien Carter, who threatened to expose her crimes 5 years ago." As if on cue, the video feed split to show Damien, Lev from the Mitchell house, his face visible to the world for the first time since his accident. "Hello, Mother," he said simply. The ballroom descended into chaos as reporters shouted questions and security tried to maintain order. Through it all, the camera remained fixed on Valerie, capturing the moment her composure finally, catastrophically, failed. "You ungrateful parasites!" she shrieked, lunging toward Whitaker. "I built this company. I protected the Carter legacy while the rest of you wallowed in sentiment and weakness." It took 3 security guards to restrain her as she continued her tirade, each word further damning her in the eyes of the shocked audience. Damien closed the laptop. "It's over," he said quietly. "She's destroyed herself more thoroughly than we ever could." David, who had been watching intently, spoke up in his increasingly clear voice. "Grandma, bad, but we, good now." Vincent crossed to his son, kneeling before him. "Yes, David, we're good now. No more bad medicine. No more hiding who you really are. And Emily and Lillian and Uncle Damien will be part of our family now, if they want to be." His eyes met Emily's across the room, a question in them that went far beyond the immediate crisis. David smiled, reaching for his father's hand. "Family," he repeated. "I like that." Outside, the storm was finally beginning to abate, the thunder retreating into the distance. As if on cue, Emily's phone, which Damien had recovered from the wrecked car, rang. It was the detective in charge of the case, confirming that Valerie was in custody and charges were being prepared. "What about us?" Emily asked. "Vincent and we know you weren't kidnapping anyone, Miss Mitchell," the detective assured her. "Dr. Whitaker has been very thorough in his statement. We'll need formal interviews, of course, but there's no rush. Take care of that boy. He's been through enough." After the call ended, Emily found herself standing in what had once been her father's laboratory. The equipment was long gone, but she could still feel his presence somehow. His dedication, his brilliance, his love for his family. Vincent joined her, his hand finding hers. "Your father would be proud of you," he said softly. "I hope so," Emily replied. "This started as a quest for revenge, but it became something else entirely." "Justice," Vincent suggested. "Healing. Love," Emily said simply, looking through the doorway to where David was animatedly showing Lillian and Damien how to control a small remote control boat he'd found among his father's old things. 6 months later, on a perfect spring morning, the Mitchell Institute for Neurological Research opened its doors. Located on the Carter estate, which Vincent had transformed from a cold showplace into a center for healing, the institute represented everything Mark Mitchell had dreamed of. Science in service of compassion, David, now making remarkable progress with proper therapy and free from unnecessary medications, played a pivotal role in the ceremony. With the help of the walker Emily had designed, he walked slowly but steadily to the podium, where he pressed the button that officially opened the facility, as applause erupted from the assembled crowd of medical professionals, patients, and press. Emily squeezed Vincent's hand. Together, they had rebuilt something beautiful from the ashes of tragedy. Not just the institute, but a family bound by love rather than obligation or appearance. In a private care facility across town, Valerie Carter watched the ceremony on television, her expression alternating between moments of lucid rage and confused detachment. Dr. Whitaker, serving a reduced sentence in exchange for his testimony, occasionally visited, perhaps the only person who understood the twisted path that had led her to such destruction. But on the sun-drenched lawn of what was now the Mitchell Carter estate, the focus was on the future, not the past. The true miracle wasn't that David had learned to walk, though that was remarkable enough, but that he had taught an entire family the power of truth, forgiveness, and unconditional love. As David returned to their side, Emily and Vincent each took one of his hands, the three of them standing together as a family that had been forged in darkness, but would thrive in light.